To begin, let's explain suggestibility. Suggestibility is the process of memory distortion as a result of deliberate or inadvertent suggestion. It is a common memory error and can be detrimental to eyewitness testimonies. We have looked at studies and research that has led us to be able to debunk the myth that suggestibility of memory is only an issue for preschoolers. The research we have come across has led us to the conclusion that suggestibility can affect people of all ages, not just kids who are of preschool age. It is true that adults are less likely than children to be impacted by suggestion, but overall, suggestibility is not solely a problem for preschoolers.
This myth comes from the idea that because children have less developed memory capacities and brains, they do not possess high-order memory capacity or maturity to be able to correctly remember events they have witnessed. Therefore, people tend to hold the false belief that children are the only ones who have suggestible memories.
What did we find throughout our research? In short, the majority of studies we found used adults and young children as test subjects, not necessarily of preschool age. Also, all the articles that we read led to the consensus that children are more susceptible to suggestibility than adults, even though adults' memories are also suggestible. In an eyewitness testimony, younger children are less reliable witnesses, but really no eyewitness of any age is reliable.
The first study we looked at was the Sam Stone study conducted by Dr. Cece and Dr. Lakeman, which involved preschoolers. In this study, a man named Sam Stone visited various classrooms doing nothing out of the ordinary. The children in these classrooms were presented with very suggestive questions for 4 weeks. After a few weeks, the children started to believe these suggestive stories. This shows that in many cases, repetition of questions over a period of time can lead some children to make up stories and even believe them. This study also showed that preschoolers, ages 3 to 4, were found to be more suggestible than kindergartners, ages 5 to 6, as you can see in the bar chart. The bar chart is showing the percentage of preschoolers' answers that were erroneous. The light-colored bar indicates that the child asserted that an incorrect event occurred. The dark-colored bar indicates that the child claimed to have actually observed the non-event, and the hash-marked bar indicates that the child insisted on having witnessed the event despite mild attempt at dissuading. Suggestibility in memory can have bad repercussions, like convicting innocents of crimes they did not commit. Like in sexual assault crimes, it seems that preschoolers are not only disproportionately more likely to get abused, but are also more likely to have their case go to trial and undergo eyewitness testimony. Having these preschoolers testify all upon memory is alarming, considering the evidence found in the Sam Stone study.
In the Akil and Zaragoza study, they tested suggestibility in first grade, third grade, fifth grade, and even in college students. Each participant was showed an 8-minute clip from the movie Looking for Miracles and asked suggesting questions about it either directly after or 1 week later. It was found that first graders confused the information more than the third graders, and the third graders confused the information more than the fifth graders, who ended up confusing the information more than the college students. The college students still had 25% error when answering the suggestible questions. As you can see, this graph shows age groups on the x-axis and percent error when answering the suggesting questions on the y-axis. As age increased, percent error tended to decrease. In addition, when the participants were asked questions directly after watching the video, they were more suggestible when they were asked the question 1 week after. Since the children had a higher percent error when answering the question, it showed that younger children have more difficulty resisting suggestibility when asked a misleading but plausible question. But as for the college students, they experienced some difficulty in answering the questions correctly. To show that suggestibility is not only a problem in preschoolers, we tested a group of Bucknell students by letting them watch a short video that showed a man on a roof assembling a bomb. We even told them to pay attention to small details within the video. Then directly following the first video, we asked these same group of students to watch a second video that showed 6 potential suspects as the bomber. After we let the participants study the suspects in the video, we asked them to close their eyes and raise their hands when asked which suspect was the real bomber.
This is a good one.
Every participant chose one of the 6 suspects, and little did they know that none of the suspects shown were the real culprit. This short study shows that our memories can fail us at any age, not only when we are young.
In Cohen and Hardick, the participants were either in 3rd grade, 6th grade, or in college. They were each shown a black and white film of a crime taking place. After watching the video, they were asked a misleading question. The study found that younger children were less reliable eyewitnesses, but no eyewitness is completely reliable. It also found that there was a greater difference in the amount of suggestibility between 3rd graders and 6th graders than the difference between 6th graders and college students. As shown in the table, the higher the variable number, the more likely they agreed with the misleading suggestion. This data shows that older people are less likely to be impacted by suggestibility. But to once again stress, no eyewitness is perfect, and everyone has the potential to be influenced by suggestion.
So I was asked to work on Titus's case because I'm a psychological scientist. I study memory. I've studied memory for decades. And if I meet somebody on an airplane, this happened on the way over to Scotland, if I meet somebody on an airplane and we ask each other, what do you do, what do you do? And I say, I study memory. They usually want to tell me how they have trouble remembering names, or they've got a relative who's got Alzheimer's or some kind of memory problem. But I have to tell them, I don't study when people forget. I study the opposite, when they remember. When they remember things that didn't happen, or remember things that were different from the way they really were. I study false memories. Unhappily, Steve Titus is not the only person to be convicted based on somebody's false memory. In one project in the United States, information has been gathered on 300 innocent people, 300 defendants who were convicted of crimes they didn't do. They spent 10, 20, 30 years in prison for these crimes, and now DNA testing has proven that they're actually innocent. And when those cases have been analyzed, 3/4 of them are due to faulty memory, faulty eyewitness memory. Well, why? Like the jurors who convicted those innocent people and the jurors who convicted Titus, many people believe that memory works like a recording device. You just record the information, then you call it up and play it back when you want to answer questions or identify images. But decades of work in psychology has shown that this just isn't true. Our memories are constructive. They're reconstructive. Memory works a little bit more like a Wikipedia page. You can go in there and change it, but so can other people.
Elizabeth Loftus conducted 2 separate experiments within her research that attempted to study the impact of the wording of questions on how participants answer. In the first experiment, Loftus took 45 students and split them up evenly into 5 experimental groups. Each group watched the same videos of a traffic accident, and after each group was asked the question, how fast were the cars going when they blank each other? For each of the 5 groups, the blank was filled with the word hit, smashed, collided, bumped, or contacted. Table 1 shows the numerical estimates of the speed of the cars for each group of participants in miles per hour. The data shows that the severity of the verb used in the question is connected to the mean speed estimate of the participants, as the group that heard the word smash when questioned estimated 40.8 miles per hour, while the group that heard the word contacted guessed only 31.8 miles per hour. This suggests that the phrasing of a question can have a significant and systematic impact on the participant's answer to a question. This may be due either to a response bias or to the framing of the question altering the participants' memories. In the second experiment, 150 students were shown a video of a car accident, and 50 subjects were asked about how fast were the cars going when they smashed into each other. 50 subjects were asked about how fast were the cars going when they hit each other, and 50 subjects were not interrogated about the vehicular speed. A week later, the participants were asked, "Did you see any broken glass?" As Table 2 shows, the participants in each group varied greatly in whether or not they remembered seeing broken glass, even though there was no broken glass present in the video. Therefore, the data suggests that changes in the form of the question had an impact on the participants' memory of the video. The research study overall displays how adults and younger students, not just preschoolers, are susceptible to suggestible memories. Because the answers to the questions in the study varied so greatly depending on the phrasing of the questions, it is apparent that adults can have suggestible memories as well.
Myth debunked!